A while back, I posted a reel of some of my spine corrector work I do after the end of my work day at my desk job, and an acquaintance of mine commented about how just great it looked like it would be for her back. She is, among her many other roles, she does costumes for theater companies, and if you've ever worked at a sewing machine, you know it's a lot of this. Also, if you work at a computer, it's a lot of this. And I know I really feel it, especially in my upper back at the end of the day. And so yes, the spine corrector is, I think, my favorite of the smaller apparatuses, especially after a day at the desk, or anything else where you're in a croissant shape. But obviously she does not have a spine corrector. You might not have a spine corrector. This one is, I'd say, this is a balanced body arc. It's among the cheapest of them, but it's still, you know, pretty expensive. But like with the last video I shared, I want to sort of show what a basic exercise sequence looks like on the spine corrector, and then I'll show you a variation that you can do with a blanket or a towel. And I do like to show you these, as I've said before in previous videos, because I like you to understand the context of where it comes from. This is a weighted pole. Don't worry, you don't need this for the variation. So this is great. I love this. I've set it a little too close to my shelf, but that's all right. So I'm here, and you see, so, you know, this is not always a practical piece of equipment to buy, but also I'm here and I pulse. And this is a lovely exercise, but also guess what? This arc I'm working on, this is probably the most accessible for the average human spine corrector. But if you have a tight back and you're new to this, I'm gonna do some arm circles. This is a pretty, honestly, big back bend. I would say it took me 6 months to even get remotely comfortable in this position. And it only took me 6 months because I had regular access to studios that had them and could practice on it a lot. So that is a great little series for at the end of your workday, but it is not practical for every human. So I'm gonna set this up on good old Big Red Reformer. And I've got 2 blankets here. These are Mexican blankets. They're from my yoga days. Again, you don't need blankets. You can use a towel. I would say if you're going with the towel route, a beach towel is ideal, followed by a bath towel. And I've got this open, and I'm gonna roll it. And the good thing about using one of these is you can adjust it to whatever works for your back. I've got a pretty solid burrito here. I'm gonna grab my TheraBand because I'm going to guess that the average person doesn't have just a weighted pole lying around. And I'm gonna fiddle around, and you're gonna fiddle around until you find the right spot for you. It's generally underneath the shoulder blades. But again, fiddle, fiddle, fiddle till you find the right spot. Now, I'm still in a pretty solid back bend. I'm thinking of drawing my ribs back, thinking of sinking my pelvis into the floor, creating a sense of heaviness. You can just let your arms be wherever they want. Now, if this is still a lot for you, go ahead and unroll your blanket a little bit, or you can slide a prop under your head. I've got my nice foam yoga block. I'm a big fan of that. Or that's part of why I grabbed the second blanket. If you have a second blanket or towel, and you just need a little extra space, you can slide that under your head. So those are your options. And again, if you've got, you know, a pole, great, but I'm guessing most of you don't. So that first exercise I showed, the reach and pull, I'm going to just fold my TheraBand in half. And again, you don't need a band. You could have a belt, really, if you have a yoga strap, just anything long enough for you to hold onto. I'm going to hold this at about my shoulder width. I'm going to pull on it so there's a little tension. Bring it up in the air over my chest. I pulse 2, 3. Bring it all the way down to my thighs. Lift it over my chest, pulse back. 1, 2, 3. Those are tiny pulses because what I'm working on, bring it up, pulse one more time. What I'm working on is actually working the shoulders while keeping my back in this extension, but also stable. So I'm always trying to think of, you might see I lost it a little bit, of not just pressing my upper back into this roll, but also letting my hips be heavy. Now I'm gonna reach for my light weights. I've got 2 pounds. In classical Pilates, we rarely work above 3 pounds. And I'm gonna circle my arms out, hit the reformer, down by my hips and come back up. Out and down. And again, I'm working in a pretty narrow range of motion because I am not warmed up and I'm just focused on trying to keep my back stable, up to the ceiling, open out like wings, down by your hips, bring it back up. Then 5, reversing direction. Down by your thighs, open out, hitting the reformer, coming back up. Down by your thighs, open out, bring them together. Down by your thighs, swirl out like wings. 2 more. Swirl out, and last one. And swirl out. So that is our basic, and you can roll to one side to come out. Some people hoist themselves up, but that was a little gentler on your spine. So that is our basic, it's called the Spine Corrector Basic Arm Series. But again, you can do it with a towel or a blanket. And yes, it is a little different, but it's a lot more accessible. You probably have a towel or blanket at home. So anyway, I hope that helped. Do this at the start of your day, at the end of your day, after work, whenever, just to help open that up a little. All right, have a good afternoon. Thanks.